I'm going to tell you the story of two individuals called Guy. Rich Guy and Poor Guy. Poor Guy had a six-figure salary, plus bonuses and benefits, a university degree, a brand new sports car and the latest iPhone. Rich Guy earned a below average salary, didn't go to uni, had an 8-year-old car and was using the same phone he had 5 years ago. They both realised the importance of education, or at least their parents did, from a young age, went to school and got good grades. Poor Guy then went on to university before being accepted into a graduate scheme at a large financial institution. Rich Guy also did okay in school, but he really focused on his financial education from a young age. You might think at this point I've got the two main characters mixed up, but the story goes on. One guy died and left his family and chosen charities a considerable amount of money. The other guy died saddling his family with a considerable amount of debt. You hear a lot of people say that they're broke, they live paycheck to paycheck. If only they had X amount more money, that would sort everything out. Now let me ask you this, what would you do if I gave you £10,000? Or if you got a £10,000 pay rise and worked in one? What would you do with that money? Buy more stuff? Or invest in the stock market? Before you answer that, think about this. You've probably had a significant pay increase in the past, even if it was going from not having a job to having a job. What did you do with that money? More money is not the answer. In the words of the notorious B.I.G., mo money, mo problems. The problem is poor financial IQ. In general, this country is not very good at teaching kids how to be good with money, but we are very good at teaching kids and people how to consume, leading to a country full of people with poor financial IQ, a bad understanding of money and how it works, and most importantly, how it can work for them. Rather than investing in assets that will work for them and bring them a return whilst they sleep, they instead buy liabilities that take money out of their pockets and take on more debt and liability to pay for the liabilities that they couldn't afford last year. Back to the story. Rich Guy, who's on a modest income, puts a large proportion of his monthly income aside and invests in assets that generate an income. Poor Guy spends all of his 7-figure salary on luxury items to ensure that he keeps up with the Joneses. He gets the latest iPhone, gets the newest model sports car on finance each year. His old Mac was fine, but of course he needs the new one for the extra processor speed and high resolution screen. Rich Guy buys assets such as shares and investment funds. These earn him money. He then reinvests this money, which earns him more money for him to reinvest, which earns him more money. You see where this is going. Poor Guy focuses on accumulating liabilities. Things that he might see as assets actually depreciate in value. Things like mobile phones, cars on finance, high rent property, tailored suits. He spends to his means and then he takes out finance deals to pay for things he can't buy straight away. In order to pay off the interest on things he's bought and to buy the new things he wants to buy, he needs to take on even more liability. But it's okay, he can afford it. His huge monthly salary can pay for his monthly payments easily. He's rich, right? What we're alluding to in this story is the power of compound interest. As Einstein put it, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Let's put some real world figures to this story. Rich Guy earned £30,000 a year. After tax, that came to £2,000 a month in his pocket. He understood the power of compound interest, so he saved and invested 20% of his salary, which worked out at £400 a month. He invested this amount for 40 years, and that turned into 1.4 million. This gave him an income of £56,000 a year in retirement, taking 4% of his portfolio each year. He was able to live more lavishly than he ever had, although his financial frugality had stuck with him and he didn't feel the need to. Poor Guy's £100,000 salary gave him a £5,500 a month income after tax. But all this went on funding his cars and fancy lifestyle. He did have a fancy house, as he realised that property is an asset that goes up in value. The only problem was, his house could not give him an income when he wanted to retire. He had no investments and had to sell his house, living on much less than he ever had in his life.